Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking a look here at Bitcoin, see what's going on with this sell-off here, of course, that can contribute to a not so amazing day. So we're going to talk about what that means and where we're at. We've been kind of expecting this dump for a little while, but also kind of had hoped for that previous fair value gap at like 30,600 to be kind of filled first. But hey, Bitcoin does what it wants, and so do the market movers. So we're going to talk about that and much more. Just to quickly note as well to preface here, we had, what is it, almost, but just say $831 million in USDT sold off in about 14 minutes. So this is a 1 minute God candle. It's close to about 3% Bitcoin. Not tremendous. We've seen worse, but in 1 minute, that's pretty terrible. So again, congrats to whoever took some profits on that one there. But we were expecting a potential sell-off on Monday. I sent this tweet on Friday, and in essence, this is again not a surprise, but also unfortunate because some folks got caught with their pants down. And in truth, we actually had a long position open at roughly 30,000. But cool thing is, low position size, low leverage. We can write it out. It's not the end of the world. Okay, so again, that's exactly why you want to make sure you use some safe risk tolerance, some safe risk management, and yes, stop losses happen. I got liquidated on one of my small positions on my BingX account as well. So again, that's just how it goes. All right. So please keep in mind this stuff happens all the time. The key is to improve and to make sure to learn from your mistakes if you've made them. Right. And again, in this case, it's not really too much of a mistake to have thought that buying the dip in this channel was a bad thing. It's absolutely one of those things that can occur. Now that we've broken this channel, we got to respect the fact that that previous support should be a new resistance. Okay, so we'll talk about that. What we want to do also here is draw out some new Fibonacci retracement levels and kind of look at things from a bigger perspective. Main reason why is because when you go from a larger retracement period, you get stronger support and resistance levels. And now that we're moving outside that range, we got to kind of look at the bigger picture. Okay, so it's kind of what we're going to look at here. And we can see 0.382. It's an obvious Fibonacci retracement level there at about 29,100. So that could provide a support level, but it also may work as a potential resistance again if we lose that level. But good news is this 28,300 range right there, averaging itself out really close to the bottom side of that fair value gap. That's where I'm expecting the price to come down to. Okay, so I'm going to take some decent long positions at the 28,000 range if and when we get there. Again, there's no guarantees this fair value gap will get filled, but there's a stronger probability, and we're already halfway filled. Okay, so why not fill that gap there effectively with the market movers? So just keep in mind, a little bit of patience here might be appropriate, but we may also see a little bit of recovery, a dead cat bounce, perhaps even up to that 30,000 range. Okay, we'll see what happens here. So obviously, if you're new to the channel, appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for joining me. You've been watching for a long time. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry, a little early here in the States. Just want to kind of get this out here for you guys. So the bottom line here is that Bitcoin is a bit on the struggle bus here. We've seen this for a little while. We can see on TD sequential, we hit a 9 previously. You expect to see a recovery from there, and in Bitcoin's history, it has done that. This is the first exception. What do you know? First time in 7 months where Bitcoin has effectively continued lower after we hit an overextended state. Okay, so we're just starting over here, essentially. We could very well see another 9 days of continuation. Yeah, because we got that little reset there. Me, personally, I feel like we're not going to see a tremendous amount of retracement. We could see the price action come down to the 0.5 level. Once again, that's a common retracement area, but generally speaking right now, we can expect 29,130 to essentially hold for the moment. And again, hypothetically, that's where we're at. All right, so let's take a quick look at the weekly, and just to note, this week is not off to a great start. We kind of closed on a gravestone, or correction, that's a dragonfly doji candle yesterday, previously a gravestone the week before. So in truth, the weekly, like I mentioned yesterday, doesn't look terrible, but once again, it doesn't look great either now that we started off with this kind of candles, okay? So one thing to kind of note, though, is the moving averages, and this is something I talked about yesterday, with the 20-day set moving average at 28,500, almost perfectly, okay? So when we see the prices average out, like, the simple moving averages and, of course, fair value gaps, those things there, they all tend to average themselves out in certain areas. This is an area of support there. So 28,300, 28,500, 28.4 for the fair value gap bottom side there. It's an absolutely important range to recognize that we should see a lot of support there. I don't personally subscribe to the thought process of the price going much lower than that. Once again, a lot of things can happen, but I really think that we're getting closer to Bitcoin's bottom before we were to leg up. This is kind of what I've expected and anticipated for a while. while it is unfortunate that we missed our short opportunity yesterday, the price action, the way that it was working earlier in the day when I was not present, if you will, the price action was increasing, and it essentially showed a lot of buying volume. We had $500 million in volume transferred in 15 minutes yesterday morning. Okay, so that should have given us a little bit more upside, but unfortunately it didn't, and now we're here. Okay, so again, it's just kind of the way it goes. You can't get it right all the time, but on the same chord, it's not a surprise to see the price action pulling back. Let's look at some standard stuff here. So, for starters, RSI. We're down below 50 on the RSI. Not a great place, okay? And if you look at Bitcoin's history, it's been a little while since we've been underneath there. Since June 17th, that's where we're at. So last time we were under this level at 50 on the RSI, the price is right here, okay? Doesn't mean it's going to drop to that level. It just implies that that's roughly what the scenario looked like before the price action was able to recover and bounce and break through 50, okay? So with us being below that, again, it's tentative. The candlestick hasn't closed yet. There's a strong likelihood we're going to see a little bit more bearish divergence from here, okay? Same thing with the MACD. We're starting to diverge even further. And as I like to say, we got this MACD FU there. We didn't have one here because it didn't converge fully, but we are in a position right now where we want to expect the price to go lower before it goes higher, okay? So again, I'm not saying to short your shirt off, but I am saying that there's a probability the price is going to pull back, okay? Just keep that in mind. That being said, here where we're at right now, we want to take a quick look at the moving averages and recognize that the 50-day set moving average is averaging itself out right there with a candle wick down. Okay, so that's a positive sign in a sense, holding a nice little support range there at 29,000. Okay, the 2 hours trailing away, we're about 26,200 for that. All right, let's take a look at the 4 hour and see what's going on here. 4 hour time frame is a little different. We can see the price action is coming down here to 30 on the RSI. It's very common for the price action to bounce off 30 on the RSI when we get that low on the 4 hour. Okay, so again, not saying we're going to see a massive rally, but there's a decent chance the price will try to recover a little bit. We may see the price action jump up to the 29.6, 29.7 range to hit this most recent low point. Okay, again, previous low should be the new high. That's essentially where we're at. All right, so again, MACD divergence, 4 hour time frame is fairly bearish. The only thing we got to recognize, there's a slight constellation here where we could bounce off 30 on the RSI, but once again, you can definitely go lower too. But it's less common for the price to go below 30 on the RSI, so a lot of times in the 4 hour, that's a good place to kind of consider entry. Once again, as a very short-term long trade, okay? Would not expect the price just to go jump past 31,000 because of it, okay? We have to anticipate that we're going to have some resistance between here and 30,000, okay? So again, 29,000, we could see recovery, but probably not all that much. That said, let's take a look here at the hourly, kind of see what's going on, kind of wrap this up here for you. TD sequential, right here on TD sequential, we hit a 9. Should have seen recovery, and we didn't. so again, one of those things where price action, overextensions, when you get an overextension into a state that has been consistently retested, it makes sense the price broke down there because there was no more support from the bulls, and they just kind of let the bears have it. Okay, so bear in mind, no pun intended there, that we were overextended here. Even though we see a 5, this should not have happened. This wasn't much of a reset. The price action just continued on down. So in truth, we are overextended on the hourly and the 4 hour. Okay, again, overextension means very little when you have a lot of other bearish confirming factors, which we've seen so far. So please recognize that. This does not mean that it's just going to recover. You might get a small bounce, and if so, consider taking some profits on a tight margin. But for right now, that's roughly where we're at there. Okay. That said, take a look at the cloud. We're obviously well below the cloud, completely bearish. No reason to consider taking a long position at this point. It doesn't necessarily mean you want to take a short either, though. I need you to recognize that because we are drawing on a support level here. There's a decent chance we could hold this price action and continue higher. But once more, it's probably more likely to anticipate the price to come down. I hate shorting the bottom, but there is potential for further downside. Okay, so just bear that in mind. All right, the last thing to note here is on our high block capital data, we can see a lot more asks being provided here. So a lot more people are trying to sell. The shorts are heavy shorts. Okay, so no surprise there. What is unique and surprising here is the fear and greed index is not dramatically lower. You expect it to be lower with this sell-off, but I think the realism hasn't factored in yet. And in truth, this just happened a couple of hours ago. So yeah, the realism is not there. All right, so taking a quick look here at just we'll wrap this up here with some interesting stuff here, right? First of all, take a look at the longs, right? When we kind of take a look at these longs here, we can see the price action. Longs got liquidated pretty darn hard there previously at 29.9. And then again, obviously, down here at the low 29,000 range. A lot of folks had their stop losses at 29,000 even. It's a very common characteristic to have an even number stop loss. And what do you know? They wick down just below that and turn right back around. The market movers are smart, right? They fully liquidate every potential position, and then they get a good average position down. So whoever did this was intelligent in the sense that they had a lot of money to move the market, but also they got in at a lower level. So again, interesting things the way that it works out, but you can see a lot of shorts were successful there at 29,600. The late shorts actually were doing well. And currently, we do see a lot of late shorts at 29,300 too. So that can provide us with a resistance shelf at 29,300. Keep that in mind. That's a very strong probability for the price action to essentially be, locked up there. Okay. So where are we at here? Well, simply put, the overall sentiment is not fantastic or truly bearish in most sense of the word. There is a potential for a small little relief rally, a little recovery here to this 29,700 mark, and then potential for further downside. I personally subscribe to the thought process that 28,500 will be tested, this low 28,000 range. Probably a candle wick to 28,000 even to wipe out all potential stop losses again, and then of course to build from there. So it would make sense that we're going to come there because that would still give us, lower, higher lows, and in essence, it would give us a position where we can continue further upwards, right? Once again, this is not the end of the world. Yes, it sucks that there's it was not fantastic for a lot of people, right? Including myself too. I took a small loss as well. And the key takeaway here is that you get back on the saddle, you reevaluate, and what we can see here is that potential further downside seems more likely. I believe this fair value gap will get filled inevitably. I've been pretty much talking about this for a couple weeks now, but it's just it's the case in point where you can never truly anticipate it, but in the long term you can, right? And we've been kind of expecting this for a while. And unfortunately, we missed out on some short opportunities yesterday, but hey, we're going to get back on the train. We're going to find some other ones too, right? That's what trading's all about. Tons of missed opportunities and just a series of unfortunate events in a lot of cases. But hey, we learn from this, we grow, and we move on, all right? So I hope that this is beneficial for you. Sorry for the long-winded narrative here, but I can just say that in truth, it could be a lot worse. And just maybe consider dollar cost averaging on your way down if you are a long-term Bitcoin holder. I personally have a large buy order at 28,500 because I feel like that will still get filled. And that's just, again, me personally. And I don't think we're going to see tremendously lower price action from there because, first of all, this most recent high, the high point back in May, will work as a new low. That's why this fair value gap is here. Okay, once we get that gap filled, the price will likely turn around. Okay, so again, there's a magnet pulling the price action down, and we will see soon here what that looks like. But be careful with long positions because it just seems like it's not really a long positions type of situation right now. Okay. I hope that you fare well. We'll talk to you soon. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks again for your time. See you in the next one.